Hey everybody, this is so amazing. 82 people here from all around the world, and I see some really enthusiastic greetings in the chat. Uh, Feel free to write in the chat where you're calling in from. Um, and I think there's a lot of people that have known each other for a long time getting to reconnect in the chat right now. We're really excited to be able to do this. Orville International USA supports projects that align with the founding ideals of Orville, and we do everything from receiving and channeling donations to providing training and mentorship for projects in fundraising and nonprofit kind of NGO style leadership, sharing information about Orville, and um, and sharing information about the inspiration and the vision behind Orville. And one of the ways in which, I mean, I would say probably like 4 or 5 years ago, we started um, getting connected, started ramping up our activities was through hosting these kinds of events. And one of the first online events that we did during the COVID time was the screening of the bonfire. And Serena was really instrumental in helping make that happen. And Serena and I got connected at that time. And if, Yana, if you could bring Serena on, I'd love to just kind of go back. Yeah, everybody can see you too. Um, we had all these ideas. We were kind of like fresh and excited about getting involved as AVI USA and like what can we do to support Orville? What more can we do? And how can it was COVID, everybody was like inside all around the world. How can we like create connections for people to touch Orville, to experience what's happening in Orville? And I don't remember, do you remember how it initially happened? We started doing these like still videos of the Matrimandir Gardens, like live stream for a half hour once a week. Do you, how, where did that come from? Whose idea was that? Do you remember?
Yeah, so I think it was something you proposed actually of just trying to get people to connect with the Matrimandir who couldn't be because of COVID. It was around those times. People couldn't travel there, um, and how to still keep that connection alive, particularly internationally. And so we just set up the first live stream of Oroville with the bonfire, and so we were looking into ways to continue with this. And what we figured out was it was a lot of work for 30 minutes. We needed almost, I think like there was 8 people involved in just doing a still live stream video of just the Matrimandir Gardens with one camera. And it was a bit boring to watch, to be honest, and not many people were watching. So an idea I came up with and I thought is let's introduce a character. Let's bring an Aurovillian that can share their personal story of how they connect with the Matrimandir. Because then, we learn something new, we hear how someone has progressed and connected with the Matrimandir, and that we can share with others, which maybe people would enjoy listening to more than just seeing this still image of the garden in the Matrimandir. That's what I remember.
Yeah, well, one thing I definitely remember, and sorry, I didn't actually introduce you. I just said Serena. But for everybody who doesn't know, Serena is the mastermind behind all the videos that we're going to see, and the idea, and the founder of Aurora's Eye Films, who has produced many other amazing films connected to Oroville. And there's Aurora's Eye. Do you have a website? If people want to find out more about other stuff that you've done. How do they do
Yeah.
that? Can you put it in the chat?
Sure, yeah. It's aurorasifilms.com, but we'll put it in the chat also. And we're all over social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You can find us there.
Yeah, awesome. So one thing I definitely remember is when we were like, this is so expensive and time intensive and nobody's really watching. And we were like, I think my idea was like, open up the Machamandir. Anybody in the world can just tune in on a Sunday morning and just sit and take in the energy. And you were like, well, what if we did it like you proposed this? It was just an idea. Like, what if we got a person involved? What if I started interviewing people? And I remember being like, okay, yes, that's definitely it. Like, that is a good idea. Just start doing that. And I mean, it's amazing how that was probably 3 or 4 years ago.
I think more than 4 years ago.
More than 4 years ago. Yeah. So like the evolution over the past 4 years to where we are now, it's amazing. And now you have not only how many interviews have you done?
Nearly 80.
80. Oh my God. 80 interviews of Orvillians and their relationship with Matrimandir, which like to look at Matrimandir, I still think is amazing. But like the intimacy of Aurovillians and their relationship to Matrimandir, it's so beautiful, it's so poignant, and that level of that scope, 80 people, that the depth of that is amazing. And so now you started taking the individual interviews and compiling them into these little segments, yeah?
Yeah, so actually we have three forms of this now. So we have the interview, the standalone interview of the Aurovillian, what they share. We have like a 1 minute social media reel, a short, and we have these episodes, which are four Aurovillians cut together in less than 10 minutes sharing. So we get to see contrasts, similarities, and it's a bit more exciting. And actually now we're working on the feature film. So this will be 1 hour, 45 minutes long, with 80 voices.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Some of you may know AVI USA, although we are often mistaken for an organization that just has a lot of money that's available to give. We don't actually really have our own money. We're supported entirely by donors. And so donors connect with projects that they care about in Oroville and provide support to those projects. And there's a couple who has been donating to this project for several years now and has been totally instrumental in helping this whole thing come about. So it's like blossoming flower of this series and all this content. And this Serena's saying there's 80 people, there's content exists for these 80 people. This content has infinite possibilities of how it can be developed in the future. And a feature film is, the next step, and who knows what's after that. But it really, Earl Blauner and Linda Marks really have been instrumental in making this at all possible. The creation of all this to date, it has been really mostly them, their support, financial support, just to be direct. And we'll bring them on a little bit later after we view the films to hear from them. But I just wanted to acknowledge and thank them for that support, because without that, who knows? It's been really the foundation for all the work.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Couldn't have done it without either of you guys.
Yeah. So I think let's jump in. We're gonna watch, what's the first one, episode 7?
Yes. This is the premiere one. So this hasn't been released yet. This is the first episode. So we're going to show for the first time.
So nobody has seen this yet. So that's the benefit of joining, is that you get to see the first time. This first time. All right, go ahead.
The feeling is of shedding, and it's of trying to be conscious and present. Drop the rest of the day and all the thoughts behind, and be here, be now, and feel what is happening in that particular moment. So the first time I saw the image of the Matrimandir was at London Airport, where my friend bought a magazine called Mother India, and there was a picture of the Matrimandir and an article on Oroville.
In 1974, I reached Pondicherry, and after a few days in the ashram, I walked to Oroville, and then after some time I saw from a distance something which for me at that time looked like a as if somebody was building a ship or something like that.
So I came to Auroville to study the economy of Auroville from my first and the last job, which was in 98.
In 2007, when I came to Auroville, I actually, my second day, I got an appointment for the inner chamber.
I was staying at Pondicherry and I cycled from Pondicherry to Auroville, had a look from the viewing point and then cycled back. And that was the first time I actually saw the Matrimandir.
I think it's the center, the soul of Auroville. And when you look at other communities who don't have something which is really connecting them, there is something missing. And in Auroville, it's actually Sri Aurobindo and the Mother's teachings, but it's on a physical level expressed through the Matrimandir.
People put their best effort. It was a center for excellence, innovation, experimentation, workshop, testing, building, breaking, improving. It was doing all that. So if we study the creation of Matrimandir in a story, I think there is a great things to learn from this.
There's something about it that feels like some ancient past, something from another world, from ancient times, that kind of meets something of a great future. So there's these two kind of aspects, and there's something in between for me always. And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't even know whether the city was already something that was built or something that was being built. So the first I ever heard of Matrimandir is when I actually saw it.
The biggest wish that's not a building site anymore, that it's accomplished in which way ever, but that we don't have all this construction. For me, it's kind of a bit difficult to take that whole Auroville, including the Matrimandir, is a construction site.
It's taken 40 plus years to get this far and still it's not complete. But it's the journey, it's not the destination, right? So I think that's also what the Matrimandir means right now for Auroville. It's the journey of us, Aurovillians, of mankind. It's not about completing everything. Maybe it will never be complete. Maybe it will continuously evolve, who knows? But I think the Matrimandir is the glue that bonds us together.
I feel eternally grateful. I feel blessed that my being, my soul, my physical body is getting a chance and opportunity to be part of that ambience, that physical environment, which is placed by Mother Sri Aurobindo to be the cradle of Superman. And I feel super grateful that we have something like this as a center available to us.
The Matrimandir for me it's like a place that holds it. It's the physical element of all these things I feel inside. It's not just a building, it's not a temple, it's more for me, it's a hug. It's a safe place, it's mum. It's warmth, it's nurturing. It can also be tough, but in a truthful way, and it's home.
For me, light is the key. And if I see the line of light, many thoughts and ideas come. Light, reflection, sunlight, sunset, sunrise. And that also makes me feel we all are the children of light. Matrimandir deals with light. It brings the supreme light, brings it down through the crystal and touches and transforms the crystal below, Earth, Mother Earth. So for me, the theme of light, the light as an energy and transforming agent, it comes very alive.
There is this kind of penetrating light which comes from above all the way down. For me, it's a symbol like the divine light. The Shiva energy is coming down and falling into the lap of the Mother.
There is no Auroville without the Matrimandir at the center. You just feel that. It's so significant, it's so important, it's the most beautiful thing that's been given to us. At the same time, the tricky part always is to disassociate it from the possible religious aspect that it can have. It was always said from the beginning that this is not a place of worship, it's not even a place for prayer, and it's really for individual development, for those who feel the need to go there and, you could say, concentrate, meditate on the divine, actually, in its purest form.
When I go inside the inner chamber, it's simple. It's like the sensations are like 1,000 times magnified. I just be and I am, and I feel all those sensations that go through my body. I find there's no other place in the world that I've had it so strong as the inner chamber.
After being in the inner chamber, I went under the banyan tree and I was actually crying for 1 hour. 1 hour it was just crying out of joy, and I felt like coming home. I have this night shifts. I sleep under the banyan tree and having the Matrimandir in front of me and the banyan tree above me. So the soul in front and the heart around me.
Contrast between the banyan tree, it's very ancient with the owls. You have that contrast with the Matrimandir that's there behind, like kind of spaceship.
And when walking through the Matrimandir gardens and learning about the qualities and the flowers and seeing the colors and the beauty and the smells, it's again attuning into being present, but in a very different way. Very outside of my body and more into the atmosphere, while the Matrimandir in the inner chamber for me is really attuning into my body and myself. Since coming to Oroville, I've appreciated flowers more. Before I was more about vegetables and food and let's be practical, and then I come here and I learn about Mother's significance for the flowers and the pure offering of blossoming that is just pure devotion, you know, just coming out for a day and then maybe, you know, that's it for a flower.
So if you go to Matrimandir, it is the overall overarching beauty of it, whether it is in the gardens, in the environment, the design, the detailing, inner space, ambience. It is the beauty which casts an incredibly amazing, uplifting, inspiring impact on all of us.
Perhaps one of the things that I've learned from Matrimandir is of one's idea of how it must be, how it should be. You know somewhere that it has to be more than just a park. At the same time, you do sort of get a nice feeling sometimes when you see
Okay. So I was wondering, I mean, there's two things that came to mind specifically. One was about Serena, what it's like to become the subject when you have been filming people and kind of, you know, behind the camera and behind the editing desk and all that, all this time. What was it like to become the subject of your own work, of your own idea?
Yeah, it's quite scary for me actually, because I actually like the camera to be my protection, almost my armor against these things. And now I'm on the other side of it. It was daunting at the beginning, but how this came about is one of the participants who I was interviewing for the Matrimandir and I said, "Oh, are you in it?" And I was like, "No, no, no, no." And they're like, "Let me interview you." So then the table set, and I thought, okay, why not? Because actually how I designed this series is to think about that. For people who are maybe a bit camera shy like myself, how to include everyone in this. And the process I came up with was I have the same 10 questions for everybody, that we do a voice-only interview, just with the microphones, and then we meet again at another time and just do a video shoot in slow motion in the gardens of the Matrimandir. So in this way, it's less daunting because you don't have to, you're not so self-conscious when you talk, and it's a bit more like a memoir. You get to really connect and share your thoughts and feelings without having a camera in the face. And that helped a lot for me. I don't know about how you other guys.
I was going to say, Sandyra, do you agree?
Definitely, that was your catch and catch, because I want to go in front of a camera, and she said, "Oh, we just have a chat. Come, and I will interview you." And she made me very comfortable with having tea and just interviewing me. But still, you can see that I'm camera shy, and I'm even Zoom shy. So, but she made it beautifully. So thank you, Serena. So it was a really great project.
Both of you mentioned kind of the relationship between the spiritual dimension that Matrimandir represents or manifests and just like the material stuff of it and being inside. Oh, I actually wanted to say, when you were talking about being in the inner chambers, Serena, the footage was of you in a pedal. So it's, I think, of the people here, many probably have not been to the Matrimandir or inside the Matrimandir. So it's good to just clarify that you haven't had footage of the inner chamber because that's a place that doesn't, is that correct? There's no, you haven't taken any footage of it?
We're not allowed to film inside it. There is some archive footage that we have been using since, but yeah, we only had permission for the petal and the gardens. So the Matrimandir we like to keep a bit sacred and a bit, yeah, for one to have their own experience when they're inside the inner chamber for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, like, so just going back, you both spoke about that, the relationship between the spiritual feeling of Matrimandir and then the physical reality of it. Sandyra, is there anything else you want to say about that? That being there and it's like on earth, it's a physical thing, and yet it's this, brings you to this spiritual place.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, it's a magical place. And since I'm here, but very intensively since 2012, I think, I'm working with the four mother powers and with the qualities and with the garden, whatever it represents for me. And it's throughout my whole work. And for me, it's just like a living template, the whole thing. And when I'm there, I just feel so blessed to have this energy there. And I also, in the interview, I was sharing about when I'm there, I'm just falling into my inner self very quickly. So it's just goes like this. And I could see the difference when on the 4th of April, when they have it open and you have the sounds from outside, the birds and so on. It's a total different feeling, because somehow it's beautiful. But when they closed the window again, I felt like, oh, it's like I'm inside, and it's somehow magic for me. So this purity also of the inner chambers, this whiteness, this stillness, it has something which directly brings me into this field. And and then when this light comes down and the crystal, for me, the crystal is then the symbol of the soul, my soul, the soul of Oroville, everything. So it's kind of fed by the divine light. So, and I'm just carrying. So I'm carrying that with me here like I have my crystal. So it reminds me. So my daily life is actually influenced by my experience from the Matrimandir and the teaching and the learning which I took out. And so I'm really in it, fully in it. So it's not just a church where I go for praying. It's like a living template for me. So the four mother powers, the energies, everything is present. Mother Aurobindo. I can't really describe it, but it's very powerful for me.
Yeah, it's always hard to put into words these experiences that are so deep, and obviously so alive. Just for context, for those who are not as familiar with the Matrimandir, when we're talking about the inner chamber, you saw the big golden globe. Inside there's a meditation chamber, and inside the meditation chamber, there is, I suppose, still the world's largest flawless man-made crystal. And there's a helioscope on the top that directs the sun's rays via a mirror down into the crystal, and it radiates out throughout the room. Sandyra mentioned April 4th, which is the day that commemorates Sri Aurobindo's arrival in Pondicherry. And on April 4th, they open a little window because the sun comes up at a certain point. And when the sun comes above the horizon, the light from the sun comes diagonal. So instead of coming vertically down, it comes horizontally, not diagonally, horizontally in through this one window. And so Sandyra was describing how that feels different when it's normally all closed off and silent, very silent, except if somebody moves, then you hear the echo. But normally it's very contained, and then to be in there on April 4th when the window is open, essentially, and you can feel the breeze and hear the birds outside and everything. So, yeah, thanks so much for your sharing. All those of you who are here, you'll see some other folks on the screen with us, Sasi and Kripa and Mona. They're going to be in subsequent episodes that we're going to see. So we're going to go to episode 1 now. I think Kripa and Sasi are in episode, or Mona's in episode 1. You guys are in episode 5. Mona's in episode 1. So you'll see Mona in this next one. So yeah, we can go, Yana, whenever you're ready, we can turn on episode 1.
Could never have happened, without all those people contributing. They were so dedicated, and so many people gave, they gave everything. They gave their money, they gave their life, they gave everything to make Matrimandir happen. I arrived in Auroville shortly after the mother had passed away. It was in 1974 that I came.
I was 1985 for the first time in Pondicherry. Then there was one visit to Matrimandir.
In 1987, when I came here to do my training, internship as an architecture student, of course Matrimandir was under construction.
I moved to Auroville when I was 3. I remember being there as a child and just playing in and around, and like bonfires.
In my experience of Auroville, the thing that touched me the most in the first 6 months that I was here as a student was the bonfire.
I was so impressed with Matrimandir because it was out of place. It had no relevance to this peanut field on this barren plateau. And I understood why people said it's like something from outer space, and they were calling it a spaceship.
The main feeling, central feeling, is one of internal space to gain clarity or to kind of listen to my inner voice and or hopefully my inner silence if I can.
I think I lived in a very strong symbolic space, and for me I saw Matrimandir as a three-dimensional symbol of Mother's symbol.
What I've read is that Mother always said, build the Matrimandir first, and the city will come, and it just makes so much sense.
I believed in Mother's strategy that was to build Matrimandir first, because you can't build the city until you build Matrimandir, because the city needs a soul. So the question was, how do you build a soul? And she said, okay, all these people come here, they come from different cultures, how are they going to work together? The only way is to have a common project that is not part of their own thing, like building their own place. So if they're working for the community and they're working together, the Matrimandir, in its complication, will force them to work together. Otherwise, they won't be able to make it. They won't be able to get it together.
Also, the Matrimandir, having been built by so many generations of Aurovillians, is important. That kind of physical history of building a space has a lot of power, and then, of course, as we've developed and the methods of working have changed, and hired people coming in, but I think anyone taking part in the construction of the Matrimandir feels the impact it has on this community and hopefully the world at large. Such a genius, is materialized and people really bring their life's purpose into reality by contributing to a project and not claiming any reward or praise or fame or something for it, but simply doing it out of the joy of giving to an ideal and an idea that's bigger than themselves.
As an architect, there's no other city that I know of which has a spiritual center. Any modern city. Of course, all the old cathedral and temple cities were built around spiritual centers. But today, to see, if you look around, it's just so amazing. We are very special. This is a city, it's an international city. It's survived 55 years, and growing. And also that it has this center, which is spiritual. It is really our cohesive force in a way. It's something that binds us all together.
I always see it as the soul of Oroville. I don't see it as a temple. I see it more as cyclotron. It's a particle accelerator. It's an energy center. So energy is concentrated in the Matrimandir in order for anyone, any human being, because we're energetic bodies. So you take your energetic body in there, and so it aligns with that energy. And that energy is so strong that it will affect you. And I understand, intellectually that energy is there because, they say it's located on two ley lines. There's all the sacred geometry there. There is all that intentionality that every person who worked there put in there and tried to make, with their devotion. It's all packed in there. Because without a connection to that energy, we cannot build Oroville.
It's beyond religions. It doesn't have a form per se. Okay, there's still a symbol of the transparent crystal, or it should be a translucent crystal, of the mirroring of the inner being, that we are as clear as silent lake, that everything in the universe can reflect from us, that we are pure reflectors. So I see that in the crystal. The banyan tree is the community tree, the unity tree, and the Bodhi tree is the pendant to community, is the solitary tree. That's what Buddha said.
I think the banyan tree is really the center. The banyan is spiritual on many levels, and it's in the Indian culture, but also in many different cultures. It's a tree, and that whole family of trees is very connected to the mystical or to the divine or to some form of spiritual connection and both grounding and reaching to other realms. So I think that is a very central aspect of Oroville, and I think the beauty is that everyone understands it differently. It has a different meaning to each person, and in the same way the Matrimandir and that space and the banyan tree have a different meaning, but I think that to have this physical center to center ourselves around as the Oroville community, I think it's very important.
Matrimandir is a collective space, and therefore everybody has a say. For us just to go within, it's not just about the collective, it's also about the individual. So it's this play between individual and the collective, which I guess Matrimandir kind of symbolizes it for us.
Matrimandir stands as a beacon of hope for the transformation of humanity.
I'd love to see young people, young Orovillians and youth that are interested in Oroville to take part and actually to understand that already existing history of building together and working together. It should be a space for everyone.
It is something so unique and so powerful, and every person on the planet deserves to experience it if they can.
About being an architect and being in that place, and how your architect mind grapples with, do you feel like you're analyzing stuff and thinking about it as an architect, or do you have to like intentionally banish that part of your brain? Like, how does that relationship work, being like that's your, focus in your profession and it's this architectural marvel there? How do you work with that?
Yeah. Hi everyone. Thanks for having me on this call. It's nice to see so many old timers whom I just haven't met since a long time. But it's a nice question. Yeah, it's very difficult. But I did my diploma thesis on Matrimandir, which was 1989 when I did. So yeah, as a student, I was quite open to everything, and my thesis was called Form, Structure, and Energy, a comparative analysis of the Great Pyramid and the Matrimandir. And I got a little scholarship from Astra Patel at that time to do that work. And so that's why this sacred geometry, which came up, and also this 4th of April was all in my consciousness at that time already, because the whole axis of Matrimandir is shifted to get that 4th of April's sunrise exactly on the axis, east-west axis. And later on, I discovered after many years that in Vastu Shastra and in many other old temples and even Buddhist monasteries and gompas and, different religious places, sacred places, they are all shifted a bit. And I discovered that it's even written, and in my thesis, I had done all these biometric studies and Kirlian photography in those days with Prabhat Poddar in Pondicherry. And he was the only one who had that machine. So actually, it's true that, the energy shifts. Like we did many, many experiments with different shapes and because this shape is also very special. So, I mean, I'm talking as an architect. You can see, I don't have that exact distance in terms of like, I see all of this together. And that shape was very important because it has this particular proportion, which is also related to the golden proportion, to Sri Aurobindo's symbol, to the Great Pyramid, and so there's lots of things behind that. But I think nowadays, when I go after so many years of living in Auroville, all that is there in the background, but actually I'm just trying to be in the present. It's difficult. But otherwise, it's very difficult. I often used to ask Piero, because Piero, I did the book on Piero and Gloria, architecture series of monographs. And I wonder, they hardly go to Matrimandir. And I think for them, like having spent so much of their life on Matrimandir, it might be like quite difficult to separate. I don't know exactly. He never gave me a precise answer, but I know he doesn't go so often to Matrimandir. But for me, it's a little bit easier because I know my history is much shorter. But yes, it does stay somewhere. I mean, you can't, as an architect, you can't stop seeing, right? So you're constantly seeing, but the present is more important, I believe. So I try that.
Yeah, I think one of the things I noticed in this episode, and not just you, but there were several people who were playing. You were doing hopscotch on the things, and Aurelio's dancing, and there's like somersaults, and all. So the dimension of play, like it's this very sacred, very kind of multi-dimensional space with this very intentional metaphor of the light coming down from the heavens into the earth, and then there's like children running around and the feeling of playing. Like, what was it? And anybody, I mean, Serena, you could chime in too, but what is it that when the filming is happening, that was your expression, was to do hopscotch, to jump and play? Like, where did that come from?
Serena's magic. I don't know what she did. She managed to get. She did a very interesting thing, I think, because she separated the sound bite from the videography, and that also made it so much easier for her as well. I think, Serena, if I'm right, if not only that we were less conscious, but also separating the two made things. She could take things and put them together. And so when we came to the Matrimandir for this film, it was very relaxed. And only thing I think the flower thing became like somehow she encouraged, or she kind of, I don't know how the flower came, Serena. A lot of the people were carrying flowers, right? Somehow you videoed them with flowers.
Yeah,
Was
did
it
that come from
conscious?
you or did that come from them?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember what happened with the flowers, but with the hopscotch, I remember because you pointed that out. So one amazing thing about this series is each person points out something different and unique about the Matrimandir. And with Mona, it was fantastic because you were really part of creating the Garden of the Unexpected. And so many details I had never even noticed before. And one of them was this hopscotch. And so she pointed it out and then showed us what you're supposed to do on it. So that's how that happened.
Right, yeah. No, but it's interesting that in this video you have Aurelio also doing it. I mean, yeah, I think it's also the nature of the people, but basically it just happened. And maybe that's why you put certain things together or something. But I do feel that what for me, ultimately, when you go, you kind of expand in yourself because I call it our sky space. You know, like there's so little sky space in Auroville in a way because there's so many trees everywhere. And I enjoy this open space with the breeze. You know, you go in the middle of the summer and it's in the shade of a tree, you still have breeze there. So I think it's like going to the beach. You know, when you stand in front of this expanse of water, there's something just relaxes inside you. You know, you always come back a different person. So I feel the same thing happens in Matrimandir somehow. In the gardens, the chamber is a different story, but yeah, gardens definitely.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thanks, Mona, for sharing. And I hadn't realized your depth of long-time association with the architectural aspect. So when I asked that question, I didn't know how much richness was there. So thank you for sharing that with us. And I think we'll go now to episode 5. That's the last episode that we'll be sharing today. And whenever you're ready, Anna, you can put that up. Thanks.
It's not for no reason that we call it the soul of Auroville. I think Matrimandir was one of those projects where we all worked shoulder to shoulder with the locals, with no hierarchy, with no superiority complexes, you know, and the whole idea or ideal was to manifest this place. I was born in Pondi, grew up in Pondi, so as a teenager we always came and messed around in Auroville. We would cycle during the holidays, and so during one of those times, you know, I came across Matrimandir for the first time, and it was just the shell.
I think in '82, I landed up there just by chance. I had no attraction for it. Working for the temple was definitely not the kind of thing that I wanted to do, but I landed up there, and to my amazement, I loved it.
I grew up with the Matrimandir, so there is no specific point in time when I started hearing about the Matrimandir.
1997 was my first moment arriving in Auroville, and I was speaking the language with Anita. I was not planned to be in India because I was the Chief Operation Officer of Coca-Cola for many years. I had to decide to go out for some holidays, and then was suggested to go to India. In India, the travel agents should suggest to come to Auroville, and after move 6 months and then go back.
In '88, I think I was working on the beams. You see, what was happening at that time was the space plane. So together with some others, I made many beams in the workshop and then replaced them. And then the 5-6 years of the construction of Matrimandir, I happened to be part of the team that was coordinating the whole thing, what we call the executive of Matrimandir. So that was also very interesting, you know, just to complete the structure.
Matrimandir was just part of our lives, meaning the construction site was a cohesive space where everybody would go and do the concretings together. Those were the main moments where everybody would come together and work at the Matrimandir. And then there's a large part of the community who would work at the Matrimandir. And the Matrimandir was an open space where life was happening.
The idea that so many people worked on it, all their essence and spirit and aspiration is all encapsulated in this structure, it definitely has an effect. In spite of your resistance, it kind of creeps in and takes over,
And when we had to save the banyan tree a couple of times, especially one after the cyclone that was really cut the branch and made such a damage, that's very, very grateful work. That you see mother presence in that moment. You see, she's here with us. It's like she's dead always. She's there. It's her place. It's her house. She's really there.
I did not do anything consciously to build the Matrimandir. I grew up along with it.
Nothing mattered to us. We are just enjoying building this Matrimandir for the divine, and that's all. The amphitheater had just been completed, and the bonfire took place at 0 hour on 1st of January. And I remember this as very, very magical, extraordinary place. The music, let the buzz of this new year be the buzz of our new consciousness. I think that touched me very deeply.
There was always a certain effect whenever you went to the garden or went to the amphitheater because of your long connection to the place, and you've seen it growing. But then now you're starting to understand the purpose of the place, the purpose of Oroville, and Mother's words and the charter and the dream and so on.
Matrimandir is essential for Oroville. The Matrimandir being the soul of Oroville, the banyan tree being the geographical center of Oroville, and the amphitheater with the urn being the symbolic and meaning of Oroville.
Even though on one level I'm not completely convinced that the lake is a good idea, but if Mother foresaw that and the divine is willing, then I guess it will happen. Who am I to resist something like that?
It is an offering, and it is about love and faith. Community of Oroville has to be a symbolic representation of humanity's diversity. It's all kinds of human beings here.
And still today, actually, I really feel privileged to be at home in this space.
I've learned that working together physically with your friends is a very very good experience. Working with your hands and with your friends is a very, very good thing.
We had very good team in that time. Whatever happened, they are there. Oh, in that time, I don't know how this team is today, but always were there. 6 in the morning until 9 in the morning.
I feel peace. I can come in with my head buzzing with 100 thoughts or with this issue or that issue. And generally, actually, I feel most of the time when I'm caught up in my life with something or the other, I need the Matrimandir space.
It's the center of Oroville, but I strongly believe if there is no Matrimandir, many of us will be not here.
Sometimes it's incredibly peaceful and serene, and sometimes it stirs up a lot of emotions. It's just never the same, it's constantly changes. And there are times when things fall into place and I'm able to really, really concentrate and come back energized and see the world with different eyes, I feel. And when the concentration really comes together, when you come back, everything looks so much sharper and so much more saturated in color. And
my dream for the Matrimandir in the future would be that it stays a space of freedom, that it doesn't belong to anybody, that it is not associated in any way to any politics or religion, and that it serves its purpose.
If we could all come together again and again to do the other things that Auroville needs of us, I think Auroville will be a much, much stronger place.
The things that stuck out there, and we're going to bring in Kripa and Sasi, who are the stars of that most recent episode. You both talked about, and a few people talked about privilege, just the privilege of being able to be there. And I certainly feel that myself, not being there now, being in America. It's my life in Auroville is kind of made possible. Like I get through day to day by being able to go there and ground and release the day and, connect. And when I'm here, I definitely feel the loss of it. I feel, that I'm not there. And I don't know if this was just chance, but I noticed that you both went to the amphitheater, and I didn't see that yet, that anybody else had gone there. So was that intentional? Was that just random that you both ended up in the amphitheater space?
You want to answer first? Okay. Well, one of the questions Serena asked during the interview is there a special spot, that you like to go to repeatedly and sit or stand or whatever, And for me, it was the amphitheater. And the amphitheater also has a special connection in the sense that, as I was saying in the video, I used to come as a teenager and mess around Matrimandir and Auroville and so on. And at that time, Matrimandir was just under construction. It was just a shell. And next to it, the amphitheater is where we would come and hang about, things like that. So there is this connection to the amphitheater. And the amphitheater, anywhere you sit, you have the urn and the Matrimandir in your vision, so you kind of connected to both, So in that sense, for me, the choice of Matrimandir was very specific and very intentional. And it's because of the question that Serena asked. So that's how I ended up being in the Matrimandir, in the amphitheater. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed, Kripa, that there's a picture of you with your hand on the urn itself.
Yeah. Well, for me, the amphitheater really represents human unity. Not the amphitheater, the urn, sorry, represents human unity. It's that closed lotus, and that's where there was a handful of earth that was put during the inauguration ceremony of Auroville in 1968. So that, as I said, and that's what I was saying during the interview, there are three very strong symbols of Auroville in that area. There's the geographical center of Auroville, the spiritual center, the soul of Auroville, and this one is the meaning of the purpose of Auroville, which is human unity.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like Serena's a very good filmmaker, so she captured it, but your hand, there's such a tenderness in your hand touching the urn. I could kind of feel connection, or like meaningful. It looked like a meaningful gesture.
It is, or it was.
You both, and Lalit also was shown with his camera. He's often taking pictures and creating beautiful art in the gardens, and you both had pictures of yourself with your cameras. So Sasi, I'm not as familiar with your photography, but is that for both of you, that was, I'm assuming, intentional and meaningful? Could you say something about taking pictures in that space?
I really love taking pictures at the Matrimandir and in the Matrimandir gardens. One of my favorite things to photograph are insects and flowers, and the gardens are so rich. And the Matrimandir itself as a building, according to the time of the day, there's not once where it's never boring to see, that for sure, and it's never the same picture. So it's taking pictures for me is also something that's very meditative. and I lose completely sense of time. So when I'm walking around and I get completely absorbed by the insects, by the flowers, by the beauty of the environment, by this angle, that light, it's a form of meditation in the area there, in that space that's given.
And for me, I shoot on film. I'm still one of those purists. So I had a film camera, and thankfully Serena allowed me to bring it in and use it. So I was actually shooting film while I was doing the filming of the series, and later I shared the photos with Serena. Shooting film for me, shooting Matrimandir on film for me is something very special, because when you look at all these archival footage, they were all shot on film, and they have this very special quality and a certain beauty. I think that kind of digital misses. It's not that I'm against digital or anything, but I thoroughly enjoy shooting Matrimandir on film. And when I had this opportunity, I could not let it go. So I grabbed my camera and came along, and as you could see, I'm shooting it lying down, which I normally wouldn't do, but thankfully, due to this series, I was able to shoot it from some very different angles. And it's alchemy, and I think Matrimandir also has a certain alchemic feel about it, with the spirit of so many people being involved, and this architectural construction, as Mona was saying, it's very special. It's taking something intangible and converting it into this golden orb. I think is somehow connects to film photography for me. I can't possibly put it into words maybe, but the feeling, is very real and very true for me.
Are there any places for either of you that people can see your work? Do you have photography websites or anything?
I don't have a website, but I'm on Instagram. I mean, I don't post very often. Just whenever I feel that I need to show something, I do. But yeah, I'm on Instagram. Maybe I'll put it up on.
Yeah, you can put in the chat your handle. What about you, Kripa?
Yeah, I'm also on Instagram. I'm not very active on posting. I do once in a while, but I am on Instagram, and I do have some pictures up there.
Yeah, I mean, I think just for people to get an opportunity to see what you've been creating, and no pressure to post extra now, but if you could share your Instagram address in the chat, that would be great.
Sure. And there's just a question raised by Aparna Sundar about the urn. Maybe
I have to put that glasses to read it.
Yeah, can someone expand on the significance of the urn? Was there something special about the soil placed in it?
I think Kripa is the best person to do that.
Well, if there's something special about the soil, I don't know if there's something special about the soil itself, but the soil was brought in from 124 different countries and the 24 different states of India. They were all, during the foundation ceremony, there was one man and one woman carrying a flag with the name of each one of these countries and states. And then they came and poured that handful of soil in the urn. So it seems that for some places where they did not have soil, they put in salt. That's what I heard. But yeah, so the symbolic of it is very strong. To have earth from all over the world brought in and put together in one same place and have it all mixed, so it all becomes one. And for the 50th anniversary of Oroville, there was a kind of a recreation of that with water and with earth also. So Satprem from Earth Institute has created in Unity Pavilion a wall with all the earth that was brought and sent, I think, with a lot of relay from all sorts of people connected to Oroville and through the AVIs. And also there was a water ceremony around the, yes, earth for 40th and water for 50th. You're right. So the earth was done for the 40th. Wow, I don't see time pass. And then for the 50th, it was with water that was brought from all over and then poured in one big disc from the Matrimandir at the amphitheater itself with the bonfire. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah,
Aparna?
I mean, that's good context. It fills out. I mean, we'd mentioned the urn and that it was special, so it's really helpful.
Thank you.
Well, thanks all of you who have contributed, and we'd like to invite people to now ask some questions. Actually, what I'd like to do just quickly before we do that is invite Earl and Linda to speak and just share why did they support this project? You know, what was it in their hearts that made them want to support it? I don't know exactly. I think, Earl, you should be able to unmute now. And
we unmuted, but we haven't been able to start our video.
okay, let me see about that. Yeah, now you should be able to start your video. And I lost you. Okay, there you are. Oh,
there we are. Good.
Okay, good. Yana got
There you
you. Welcome. Lovely to
Well,
see you.
Thank you. It's a joy to be with you all in this worldwide conclave. And I'd say greetings from San Francisco, from the other side of the world. But I have a theme in all of this that consciousness knows no geographical limits. And it's just good to be here with you all and a part of all of this.
Yeah, and it's such a pleasure for us as donors to have relationships with people like Serena and Bina and Matthew, and then to meet the rest of you this way through the Matrimandir and I series is just great. So it's a privilege for us.
Yeah, and as to the why of our support, I have been a sadhak of the integral yoga of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother since the early 1970s. And of course, the Matrimandir is the beacon to the world. And my feeling my experience has been that I feel it. I have studied everything I can find, watched all the films. It's Linda and I have not been to Oroville or Pondicherry, and
or to India.
As you can see, we are elders, and my mobility isn't what I would like it to be to get there. But this is a way, and I think it's so important that through these films, and at one point there were almost 100 people on this Zoom session. It's just so important to get this out to the world to show, and I think it shows how different each of you in Oroville are, and yet there is an abiding connection that we all have. And it's that message of difference and unity that needs to be gotten out to the world. And this is a powerful way. I'm in seeing it again. We were privileged to see these episodes in advance, and I've watched them many times. But getting this message out to the world is just very important. So it's a privilege and an honor to be able to be a part of this from a distance, but maybe not such a distance. And so I have a background in working for public broadcasting here in Northern California as a fundraiser, no less. And so it's wonderful to be at this point in our life in a position to to give back, and to be able to be a part of something that's so incredibly important. So we met Serena first in one of these Zoom gatherings around Anicca, Joy of Impermanence, where Serena's residence, which was something which to us was a pretty cool place. I appreciate it must have I know it has its challenges from talking to you, but that's how we met. And I have such a strong feeling about filmmaking because it was a part of the work that I've supported for so many years. And I would just say that this is really good filmmaking, and it's such a challenge to take all that footage and the interviews and weave them together. So I hope, Serena, you'll say a little bit about your team and how this magnificent task was accomplished. So, Linda, yeah.
Not much more to add, but I also just love the international quality. I'm very interested in diversity and internationalism. Both of us used to travel a lot. We're not doing it now. And so this brings it to us rather than us having to go there. So thank you for that opportunity.
Yeah, I'd say that I think the world is open to listening to these kinds of things. And I would say to those listening that that do what we did, those who are able, pick a project at AVI USA. There are so many projects to be supported, or maybe one that isn't even yet being supported, bring it to them. And we have to act in the world. We have to do things and to make it a better place. So through AVI USA and Oroville, there's just important opportunity. So just go do it.
Serena, do you want to answer that question about your team? I think the collaboration of financial nourishment and support from Earl and Linda, and this, I mean, 80 episodes like that is a lot of work. It's like hands-on hours and hours and hours, and it's not just you, obviously, you have people. So could you talk a bit about your team?
Yeah, yes, for sure. None of this could have happened at all without a really good team. So we have Aura Venkatesh, who does the cinematography. We have Shinu, who is the one who edited these episodes. We have Raj also, who's editing the shorts and the standalone interviews. We have Kardash, who is doing the sound, and also Siddhartha, who's also done the sound. Who else? I feel I'm forgetting someone. We had someone who helped with the website as well, and then there's the social media, and it really takes a team to make something like this happen. And with everyone putting their input, their love, their devotion, it really makes it something very wholesome. So thank you to everyone who's really helped with this, because without no one, it's nothing. So yeah, thank you to you all for believing in us and helping manifest this. So thank you, Earl, Linda, and Matthew, all of you guys. It's that support has really helped. Thank you.
We live in a time where there's just endless content, and I think we really take for granted, good content takes hard work. And it takes work from many different directions to make it happen. It doesn't just arrive out of nowhere.
Right. And in viewing these again, I was in seeing all the archival footage. I realized that this is making the archives. This is the archive of the future. This is going to be there for people to see, to try to understand what was going on in Oroville now and a response to it.
Yeah, for sure. It's bringing all that archival footage to life and sharing it in real time now. And I appreciate so much what you said, Earl, about the timeliness of this, just with the state of the world as it is. and so much disillusionment in the world. The Matrimandir itself is such a symbol of hope, and the way, Serena, you brought it to life with all these amazing people, it just really gives that energy out into the world of hope and possibility at a time of disillusionment and so much cynicism. So,
so I hope all the viewers here will be spreading the word and encouraging others to start in on the series. I mean, it's so wonderful the way this is built from individual stories to the linkage now of the weaving of four stories together. And Serena, I hope this is being good practice for the next step, the hardest step of weaving it all into a documentary. Can you tell us, what is going on in that regard? I know you've started.
Yeah, sure. So the documentary is well underway, actually. We hope to hand it over to the sound composer, a music composer who is going to create a whole music score for it. So from next week, we hand the baby over. But yeah, it was actually because of your idea. For a long time, we were very confused on how to edit the feature film with so many voices, so many interviews. How do we put this together? And Earl, I believe it was your idea who suggested, what about cutting it with the questions I ask? I asked 10 questions to everybody, the same questions. And this is how we've cut the feature film. So it's done question by question with not everybody answering, but different voices answering to each question. And and another beautiful things comes through. So I'm not going to share anything else. You have to wait to see it. But thank you so much for the suggestion, because I think it works beautifully. And it's called The Matrimandir and I, The Center Within.
Oh.
This is the working title for it.
Oh, good.
Beautiful.
Good. Well, we'll have another premiere down the road, Matthew and Bina and
yes,
Yana.
When it comes time, we will premiere again. And I want to give a few minutes in case anybody in the audience would like to ask a question of our attendees here. You are able to unmute, I believe. So if anybody wants to turn on your camera and unmute and ask a question, we'd be happy. Hi, Vern.
Hi, I have a question or a comment, if I may.
Please.
For people who are possibly drawn to YouTube and are not on a spiritual path, but are drawn to watch one of these beautifully shot short videos, there needs to be a half a minute introduction at the beginning of each one that describes the intention of Oroville for the entire world. And if they just see the Matrimandir, they can't go in it, they don't understand it, they don't know where they are. That needs to be happening so that they'll continue to watch further videos. And the second thing is, especially with the first video, I think that it would be really lovely to have talked a bit more about the gardens and the individual meaning of each garden. It would certainly enhance the interest of the film. For people who really don't know about Oroville, it can't look too hippy-dippy, new agey when we talk about flowers, which are because we're blissed out, and we talk about all the lovely energy and people that around the world who don't talk in these terms. They don't talk in these terms, and it kind of turns them off. So I think the filmmakers need to be aware of the taking their consciousness out of the blissful state that they've come to, so that they can have an equal balance about presenting to people unaccustomed to our world. And because there are people searching and questioning and really wanting to know about this, but they don't want to be turned off by and lost because they don't understand the entirety of the of the project to bring into the Earth's atmosphere of truth consciousness. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Fern. And we at AVI USA are certainly well aware of the challenge of representing Oroville to the broader world in a way that is both accessible and doesn't diminish anything about the beauty and the spirit of this amazing project. So thanks so much for bringing that forward. It's such an important consideration. Any other questions from the audience? One of the things that's cool is just watching the chat and seeing people connecting and sharing their perspectives. So definitely continue to do that. It's really great to see. Anybody who would want to speak up, you may do so if you'd like.
I would like to say that it's really visually beautiful. In addition to putting it all together and the sequencing, just there were some shots that just moved my heart so much now that I'm back in France to see all of that again in all its magnificent beauty, and remembering also participating in some concretings and all that. That was fun to see everything being passed along. And I'm very happy to see everybody who I know through this. And thank you very much, Matthew, Bina, Yana. This is really a wonderful thing to do. And Serena, bravo. Really.
Thanks, Mandakini.
I'd just like to share something because I went through as many episodes as I could find. I definitely didn't see the 80, but I was just like browsing right from even before I got my interview done. And there's something that I really, really appreciate is how people are relating to the space and to the Matrimandir and to the gardens so differently. And it's not ceremonial, it's not religious. People are physically moving, doing somersaults for some, running or sitting or meditating. And there is something that's really very authentic. So it's not at all hippy dippy, because actually one sees that people are just very sincere, and whatever they are, they relate as who they are. And that comes through this series. And one can really see that it's not a formatted way of behaving in a certain space. People really do what they want and how they feel like.
Yeah, I agree. It's such an amazing aspect of the whole project is seeing the Matrimandir through all these different embodied people and not just hearing them and what they have to say, but you see them rolling around on the ground or splashing in the water and sitting quietly with their eyes closed, and all these amazing embodied reflections of their relationship to this space. So it's both intimate and just very grounded. I really love that about it.
I just would like to.
Go ahead, Julian.
I would just like to invoke the name of Ruud Lohman. Those of you who have a connection to Matrimandir, and I always appreciated his early anecdote of tourists coming. Ed was talking about the early days before there was no information center, and someone calls up and says, "What are you building? A water tank?" And Ruud called down from the Matrimandir, "No, a transformer."
Yeah, if anybody hasn't read Ruud's journals, what is it? What's the name of it, Julian?
House for the Third Millennium.
Yeah,
beautiful. And it's his Akash put it on the Orville website. I don't know whether it's still there. We still have copies at Madhugiri. If someone wants to order a book, let us know. It's a wonderful series of essays about the Matrimandir.
Thanks for bringing Ruud into the circle, Julian.
Mary would like to say something about the petals. Can you see her?
Yes, we can see Mary.
Oh, okay. So people seem to rarely talk about the petals, and to me, they're so important because you And this last visit, they've really succeeded in getting the colors. You know, they're not using paint, they're using light now. And go and sit in a chamber of a quality and just be infused by it. And I look at these qualities and they're so key to the transformation of the world because they're about how we get along with each other and how we treat each other. And I would love to see that included in future parts of that.
Thanks, Mary. Sandyra, do you want to say, I mean, a lot of Sandyra's work. No, she doesn't want to. Sandyra's work is so much around the qualities and the
I
petals.
was just thinking we're doing a little workshop on the 25th about the mother symbol, and it's really about also standing in all these qualities and Shivaya, Marie Claire, and me. So we are doing a little workshop for for insiders. So I wanted to invite Serena just to go. Maybe if you want to come. So
I look forward to seeing those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just for context, the Matrimandir itself is a representation of the mother symbol. The mother gave a symbol with the center and then 12 petals around it. And each of the petals is a specific quality for those who aren't familiar. And so that's when Mary's talking about going into the petals. There are physical petals that you can go into that each one represents a different quality from the mother symbol.
And a different light. That's, to me, just blew me away. I mean, I'd been doing this for years. Whenever I go, that's key to me. But they've done such a beautiful job with the lights these days. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we have time for one more if one more person would like to speak. Does any of our co-hosts have anything you'd like to share before we wrap up?
So I'd like to say something. So many people have given so much to build the Matrimandir, and Julian was absolutely right to mention Rude. So at the same time, I can't help but mention Barbara.
Thanks, Mandakini.
And we can go on with so many other names
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And some more pop up in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can just as a group now, there's 60 some of us still here, just hold gratitude for all the people who put their hands and their hearts and their lives, like Bea was saying, people gave everything, their physical self, their money, their life to building this beautiful manifestation that is there now because of all of that. And these big things, they are all made up of small actions, and something that we kind of feel inspired about today. Oh, should I do this? Should I not? Can give birth to something beautiful. Earl and Linda's contribution has given birth to this, not just the series and not just the feature film and all the work, but us being here together, and seeing each other, chatting from around the world. All of that has blossomed out of this so far. And who knows what's next? Who knows what else will come in the future? So we can all, in our own lives, plant seeds and water them and make beautiful art and take care of each other.
I just had someone ask me, Matthew, whether they could give a double match for the gardens, and if there's this aspiration to complete the gardens by Mother's 150th in 2028, and you matched and exceeded the goal recently last month. So is there any plan to try that again?
Well, basically, a donor approached us and wanted to give $25,000 as a challenge grant for the Matrimandir Gardens. And he said, you know, if you can raise $25,000, I'll give you $25,000. So we did that. And like you said, we raised around 30,000 in response to his challenge. Because it was successful, then it's, you know, I think we would do it again, but there needs to be somebody to issue the challenge. I'm not the one to issue the challenge. Somebody needs to challenge me. So if that happens, then definitely. And anybody who's interested in, you know, having a conversation about that can get in touch with Bina or myself, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say hello because I see so many familiar faces. One thing, you know, having grown up in Oroville like Kripa, I grew up with Kripa, is hello, sweetheart. Is for me as a child of Oroville, Matrimandir was, I never dreamed that I would actually see a physical finished structure in my lifetime. To me, it was more a heart, as something that brought us together. And we would come as children when there were big projects to work on, and we would just be there and shovel sand. I think we thought we were helping. I don't know how much we did for the construction. But Matrimandir was always there bringing all of us together. I remember a Christmas where somebody put lights in the banyan tree, and we all sat under the banyan tree and had hot chocolate. And our early bonfires were literally everybody would bring a stick of wood and we would pile them up together and sit around them. A lot of these things have become so much bigger and amazing than we ever could imagine. But even this Zoom is kind of a symbol of that. It's like when we started doing these bonfires in the urn, there were just a few of us, I don't know, 30, 40 people max. And, you know, we never dreamed we would be sitting on an international Zoom with people from all over the world, and Matrimandir would be a subject. And so it's kind of incredible how we have all come together. And Earl said it to me so beautifully the other day. He said how, you know, we're all connected to Matrimandir. Our hearts are connected, even if we're not there physically. So I just wanted to it's so good to see all of you here.
Thanks, Bina. And I think with that, we will wrap up. It's been so wonderful, and just really appreciate all those who went into making this possible. And again, Earl and Linda and Serena and her team, and the kind of hard work that's brought us these amazing videos. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for being part of the AVI USA universe, family. We AVI USA are just deeply grateful to all of you. And it's so nice to just be in this space together. And we will let you know when the next time comes. It's really great when a lot of people come because it makes us want to do it again. So thanks for coming, and we'll see you all soon.
I wanted just to quickly say a big thank you from Matrimandir.
Hi, Judith. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
So wonderful to see you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, Judith. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Thank you.